haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it.
Spoil it in your face.
That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, oh nigga. Justin, how old are you now? 67?
Go fuck yourself, Brandon. What's up, guys? This is Justin.
You look good for 6. Oh wait, I can't say 6'7" no more because these fucking kids. Anyways, I'm Eddie Collins.
Wait, hold on. You were saying 6'7" on your own?
Well, I was saying, are you 67? And then like I remember 6'7". You can't do all that.
Oh,
it's a whole.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, these kids are out of control.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kind of feel like an old man because I'm using numbers differently. Anyways, so we're talking about sleepers.
Yeah.
The 1996 Barry Levinson directed movie based on Lorenzo Carretera's 1995 book of the same name. It stars a stat cast including Kevin Bacon, Brad Pitt, Robert De Niro, Dustin Hoffman, Minnie Driver, Brad Renfro. Remember when he was big in the 90s? Jeffrey Donovan, Billy Crudup, and Jason Patric. Remember when Hollywood really tried to make him happen? But clearly, we'll talk about it. Because I need to know first, Justin, why did you pick this as your birthday pick? Why is this your birthday pick?
It's a film that I've talked about, and I know Brandon didn't want to do it. So the only way I could get it in is if he was forced. He was forced into this.
I don't like any of the phrasing so far. I don't like.
Well, considering what this film was about, yes, there's a lot of forcings. But also at the same time, Lluvia also actually brought it to me. She's like, "Hey, do you want to do Sleepers?" I was like, "Yes, let's do Sleepers." So you can blame Lluvia for this.
No, you went with it. Why were you cool with it? Why'd you want to like do this for There's so many movies you could have done for your birthday. Why were you like, oh yeah, Sleepers, that dark movie with Brad Pitt. Let me go watch that.
Well, you know what? Because so this is a film that I saw when I was a kid. And obviously, it was almost like Scared Straight. It's like, oh, yeah, you don't want to go to prison. Keep your ass out of prison.
There's a reason why grown men at the end of the first act are all weeping for these young boys going to prison. The dad, Lorenzo's dad's like, I already did enough time. Why he got to do more time? And then Robert De Niro's like, you doing time? Like everyone's breaking down, and these kids are just like, "Oh shit, did we fuck up?" These kids are like, when they're on that bus going to prison, they're like, "Hey guys, I think we really fucked up."
Guys, I think this is gonna be bad. I think this is gonna be really bad. But I also think, also being, how I grew up and the people I grew up with, and like. I know people came with boys' homes, people who did go to juvenile detention centers and things like that. It's like, these are real stories of, well, obviously this is not a real story, per se. But like, this is the kind of shit that does happen in the world. Right. And like, I've always been someone who's just like, I think most people should, is like, hey, you got to protect kids and, don't let shitty things happen to them. But also be mindful of the people that are around you and be mindful of adults, because not every adult has, the best intentions in mind. And like, yeah, I don't think my kids are going to watch this movie anytime soon. But I think it's just people need to understand that there's, like, I guess this is one of the movies that's like, oh, wow, there are different kinds of evils in the world. And like, this is one of those films. I saw this one probably younger than I should have seen this.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I get it. That's a part of it for me, and why like this movie has always stuck out to me. But I think it's also the revenge plot, and the revenge plot, and how like they went about it in such an intelligent way to make sure that they took these guys down systematically, because they're just like, outside. Well, I guess there's different ways. There's different levels, because one went the direct way, like, oh yeah, we killed this guy, we shot him up, and we did, and that's what we
Well,
did to him.
well, that's what's so crazy about this movie, and that folks. So it's disputed, like the author Lorenzo, who's the main character. His name is Shakes. If his book was accurate, fabricated, bullshit. Mostly towards the accusations about what happened at the prison. That seems to
Yeah,
be the biggest thing. Um, but it's and this is in the mid '90s when this is happening, and I bet you probably there's debate now about authenticity of his claims because because of the success of the Nickel Boys, not just the book, but Colson Whitehead, but also the movie adaptation that came out like about 2 years ago. It brought renewed interest into abuse that young boys suffered at facilities like this person that this movie
yeah,
fictionalizes or whatever, and then other films and stuff like because yeah, like it's why would so many men now come out about this stuff? They don't have any reason to lie. It's because they want to finally speak out for the abuse they suffered, the abuse of others, the people that probably died. Because they said the one black kid played by old boy from 8 Mile, they're like he died of pneumonia when
yeah,
the truth is that the guards beat him so bad that there was nothing left to beat, which
yeah.
is
They beat him to death, and for winning a football game.
well, I mean, you know what? After you know that they already fucked up your boy beyond like recognition, right? Like we're like he's all fucked up. He's in solitary confinement. It's like what? If we're fuck it. If we have one shot to get like knocks at these guys, we're like they can't hurt us immediately. Fuck it. They're already getting their
Yeah,
ass beat all the time anyway. Why not get a few licks in finally? Because they wouldn't have been able to do it otherwise. We're talking after months of abuse from these dudes. It's just getting worse. My man got didn't he get beat up because he got an extra? The teacher gave him a book.
yeah.
John Slattery's character gave him a book. He got his ass whooped. Come
Oh,
on,
you were
man.
reading, nigga, huh? You were reading.
They'd be like, oh no, they were calling like him Special Boy or something like that, but they beat the shit out of him.
Yeah,
And that teacher
but
didn't
like,
raise any flags. I was just like, come on, guys. But anyways, yeah, all that aside is that this is an intense movie. It's
it is an intense movie.
yeah, and the title is American slang for juvenile delinquents who serve sentences longer than 9 months. Now, there's a lot of harrowing like prison stories about young kids that make terrible mistakes and then they suffer the consequences, um, both legally, emotionally, physically, with abuse that's beyond reason. It's just insane, because these men have this access and this power complex to be able like I can do whatever the fuck I want, and we've seen it happen in this movie. We see it happen in When They See Us, that harrowing Netflix series, the Nickel Boys
Mhm.
I already mentioned. The only issue I have with this movie, well, I have a few issues with this movie, but the main issue I have with this movie is that tonally Barry Levinson never quite locks in. So, like to your point, there's that part where they're like, Jason Patric and Brad Pitt are like legally trying to maneuver and do things where the case can be dismissed against their friends who are charged with murdering Kevin Bacon's character, who's the main guard that abused him for a year plus, right?
Yeah,
But then there's also the whole like, Michael's going against the community and like Brad Pitt's character dealing with that. But then also Jason Patrick's Shake's character maybe he's with Minnie Driver. Like there's some the lack of focus I think really hurts this movie. Also, I think that this movie was severely miscast. It's adult actors.
mm.
Because I never got Jason Patric. I know he got a lot of shit when he replaced Keanu Reeves in the Speed franchise, and I mean, Speed 2 was going to be a disaster no matter what.
Yeah,
Keanu saw that. Fucking
yeah.
cruise ship. What are we doing? But
Cruise control.
but Jason Patric is so weird in this movie as the adult Brad Renfro's character. Oh no, he's the other character. So Brad Pitt's supposed to be Brad Renfro, right? Older.
It's hard.
The kid to adult casting was odd. It was very weird. The
Yes.
closest one I thought was the Billy Crudup one. That was the closest one to that guy.
Yeah, yeah.
And the young version of that guy, of that character, by the way, he went on to be like an adult actor that plays some really creepy characters in movies and stuff. But Yeah, like the casting and the tone of this movie is what really kind of like makes this weird at times. I don't want to say it's like a bad movie, but like because it was a box office hit, it got positive reviews at the time of its release, made 165.6 million against a $44 million budget. But I mean, what do you think about like as you rewatched it? What do you think like overall of the film and also like that tone that it's trying to hit with like kind
Well,
of
I
genre
think
mixing?
I think the beginning of the film, to again, it's been a while since I've seen this. I think the beginning of or maybe I just remembered this a little bit differently. But I think the beginning of the film kind of throws you off a bit because you text me about it. It's just like, is this Goodfellas? Am I watching like a playoff of Goodfellas? Because that's what it kind of felt like. And then they had them growing up and these young kids for quite a while, and then like was it like 20 minutes before they end up going to prison, right? Or
It felt
longer.
even longer than that. I mean, because this movie is a little over this. Yeah, this movie is
Yeah, it
two
was
hours
longer
and
than that.
27 minutes. It's
Two
almost two
hours.
and a half hours, and it felt like 30 plus minutes of just like watching these teenage kids kind of try to like go through
Hijinks.
shit. Yeah, and like you're also like Lorenzo's dad is like mad abusive, and we never fully confront that, by the way. Like towards his mom and stuff like that, like very like super trad, like cook my dinner woman or I'm gonna beat you silly, shit like that.
Yeah.
And they're in Hell's Kitchen. We keep hearing how they're from Hell's Kitchen. By the way, there's a Puerto Rican who does this rant about New York City at one point in the first act. And Tatia was like, I hate everything about this. She was like, I did not like this scene. I don't care for it. Oh, yeah, because they were like, oh, you hurt someone in Hell's Kitchen, you hurt all of us, and we make sure you get paid, we get paid back. Like Lorenzo's dad like walks him up to a hang gangster. It's like, you see? I was just like,
Yeah.
that's why this
He's just
kid's all
like he's
fucked
like,
up.
that's right. Hell's Kitchen. We take care of our own.
So like the
Mind you,
first
he's just like, yeah, some guy from uptown came down here and they sold something to somebody and this kid died. So we hung him. Like, what?
yeah,
What?
dude. They're like, we're very diverse. We got Puerto Ricans, blacks, we got Italian. And also Jason Patric's adult accent kept coming in, like Italian accent kept coming in and out. This nigga, like, I'm pretty sure after watching him on Entourage and seeing some interviews with Jason Patric, this nigga's plumb crazy. And he might be on the spectrum. Not that that's a bad thing, but you can tell it in how he connects with other actors in the scene. You know what that means? You know
Sure.
what that means, Justin, because you're in the scene. You know what acting
Yeah.
is. Like, when you've done a scene with somebody who clearly is
What are
not
you
there.
doing? You know what
No,
acting is. You know.
yeah. No, but like when you've done a scene with someone who's clearly not there, like who's clearly in
Mhm.
their own world, and you're like, well, this probably ain't gonna come out well. We're supposed to be best friends. The niggas ain't even making eye contact with me. Yeah.
um,
Jason Patrick was very am I wrong in this? Like he's an odd performer in this, right?
oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. He
Like
is.
just the looks he was giving and
But
like
I gotta say, I think that I think that Brad Pitt did a great job in this one.
I thought he
I
was
think he
terrible.
did.
And he looked sick. I don't know if that's on
Well,
purpose.
I would think that
I
would
was
be on
wondering if
purpose.
it's supposed to look on purpose, but like, yeah, like, yeah, he
Yeah,
looked a little
I would
ill.
think that would be on. I would think that that would definitely be on purpose because like
Okay,
this would be I
this is like Interview with the Vampire
it
meet
would
Joe Black, Brad Pitt. So
I think it would be a lot on him emotionally to
yeah,
be going through this. So like
Mike
it could take
Sullivan.
a toll on him physically.
Yeah. So okay, let's get through the first act first because like you said,
Oh,
tonally, like,
Goodfellas. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
it feels like a good. It feels like if I were a director and I like wanted to do a gangster Italian movie, like an Italian gangster movie for TBS, like in the early '90s, right? I got a decent amount of budget where I could hire like Scott Wolf and shit. But in this like instance, I get to work with like Brad Renfro and like Brad Pitt and stuff like that. Because the beginning is insane. The accents are all over the place. I did like chuckle at some parts, like when the kids did the clicker prank with the
Yeah.
nuns and the girls across the aisle at the church and stuff like that. I was like, all right, this is shenanigans, like you said, right? The boys
Mhm.
hanging out at the confessional and hearing that one woman talk about how she likes to fuck all the other husbands in town.
Yeah.
And she's like, I know you won't tell anyone, boys. I was like, that's a nasty woman. That's a nasty woman.
Well,
And she want to fuck these
hold on.
boys.
First of all, no, no. I don't think that she was trying to fuck the boys.
I don't
I
know,
think it's
man.
just
I
like
didn't like
she
that.
needed
She a
she
freak.
wanted no, she wanted well, I mean, obviously she's a freak, but I think that she just wanted to get it out. But she and
Yeah.
is like these guys are here. It's just like, all right, maybe I'm not ready to, tell a priest yet and feel like judged by an adult. It's just like I'm just gonna tell whoever's there. I'm getting it out. I mean,
Mm.
I'm not saying like that. Was that scene weird? Yes, because we never go back into
No,
we never go back into the confessional again. But like, yeah, that
I
was a
mean,
wild scene.
yeah. But that's Lorenzo and the kid and John, and so that's the and that leads to the scene where Robert De Niro, like as as father Bobby Carrillo, he comes up to Lorenzo, is like, hey, I heard you're interested in the ministry and stuff like that, because you're hiding in confessionals, you motherfucker. Like he doesn't like say all that, but he's like
Yeah,
implying like,
yeah.
don't do that shit, because father Bobby, I guess, is like considered like he's the real father figure, that he's the leader, like the guy that everyone looks to for guidance in the
Well,
community.
I mean, I think it's mainly just the fact is like he's kind of like that cool dude
Yeah.
that all the kids in can connect with and they can
Mhm.
tell talk to about things, and he's always also there to help.
And he's let's be honest, Justin. Out of all the adults that we see encounter these kids, besides the poor cart driver that gets robbed and vandalized,
Mhm.
Father Bobby, until the third act, is the only responsible adult around these kids. Because
Yes,
again,
yes,
going back to Lorenzo's crazy ass dad, Lorenzo tells a story. Okay, so Father Bobby, I guess, used to be affiliated with the mob in some respects, then got like,
yes.
with the Lord, became a priest. So then, for some reason, that like leads Lorenzo's dad to tell Lorenzo and his friends the story of King Benny, who's like the notorious gangster in town. And that whole story is so fucking insane. And then I wrote down my notes. I'd be like, if I were Lorenzo, I'd be like, Dad, why'd you just tell me and my friends that story? We're about to go to bed. What's wrong with you? Because the story of King Benny is basically like this horror story about this kid that gets jacked up by this gangster, and then the guy that just waits like 7 years until he finally gets him alone. And it was like, yeah, when you take a bath, you're gonna remember me. And like takes off his fake teeth. He's like, whenever I look in the mirror, I think of you. And the guy's like in a bath house or some shit. He's like, and now when you take a bath, you're gonna think of me. Pow, pow, pow on your legs. I'm King Benny. I'm just like, that's such an insane dad. Read the room.
I mean,
We just want some
I'm gonna tell you.
cheeses.
So I'm gonna tell you right now, they made them differently, Brandon. They made the different because my dad told me wild fucking stories too.
I'm sure he did. You're trying to eat your Cheerios. This nigga's like, hey, one time I knew a nigga named Cheerio. Yeah, they fucking whipped him like a dog.
Hold on. So my dad once told me a story about his friend Skeet. They call him Skeet.
Oh
He's a
no.
little guy. And Skeet was at school one day, and there was a kid. There was a big kid who was just like, "Oh, he's like, tomorrow I'm gonna kick your ass, whatever." So he's like, every day, the next day, Skeet came in. They knew after school he was going to have to fight this kid, and he had his lunch bag sitting on the on this table, and he just like that bag was. He was like guarding that bag, like with his life. But then after school comes and that kid comes up, ready to fight, he's sitting there holding that lunch bag and he swung that lunch bag and he hit this kid in the head with it. He's been carrying a brick all fucking day. I'm just like, wait, what? So he basically told me a story about how this kid carried a brick around all day and popped his bully in the head with it. It was like
Okay.
easily could have killed him. But he's just
Yeah.
like, yeah. After it's like, so you always got to be ready. I'm just like, ready for what? I don't understand what you're trying
But
to.
bricks.
What's the meaning
Wait,
of this
yeah,
story?
like, are you supposed to be ready as the bully or ready as the bullied in that
Yeah,
situation?
like
Again, your dad's very
I
much
still
alive
don't
with
know
the
what that meant.
times. Yeah. I mean, and also again, Father Bobby, he's the only good guy around them. So before these kids even go to prison, it's implied that their dad's ain't shit. You got the littlest runt of the group, John Riley, who's played by Geoffrey Wigdar, the young John Riley. That that dude somehow looked old and young at the same time. I don't know what that
Yeah,
actor looks
yeah,
like now, but he looked crazy. Also, completely insane. Completely fucking insane that at the end of this movie, the epilogue with the Minnie Driver character, the picture she has of her son, listen, it's played by the same nigga that played young Johnny Riley. Because I'm like, is that the same actor that's like the son? Are they saying that John's the dad? I'm so confused. Anyways, yeah, that little nigga looked old as hell, but then he got a punctured lung because his dad abused him.
No, it wasn't his dad. It
That
was his
wasn't even his
mom's
dad.
boyfriend. Is one of his mom's
It's
boyfriends.
crazy.
But
Yeah, so
you know what?
domestic abuse was just a thing, and that's probably why I wish they dug a little bit better into that when the boys agree. I mean, they probably didn't want to shoot a long scene with like a bunch of like teenage boys talking about how they don't want to tell their families about how they got abused and how they got,
Yeah,
what happened. Because they're like, no one's gonna believe us back home because they do the same shit, just not to like the sexual extent. But
yeah.
the one kid, if a one kid has to end up in the hospital because he has a punctured lung so bad that Father Bobby got to come up to you and threaten to beat the fucking kill you, like that's insane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which is also, it's just like, and that's the one. I think the first half of the film before which is this is a crazy thing to say. I just I'm just gonna put it out there. What I'm about to say is crazy. Like the film gets better once they go to prison because that's when the film really kicks off. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
felt like
you're not wrong.
they
You're not wrong.
yeah, but it because of the
It's
nature
hard
of
to
what happened
phrase
in the
it.
film.
It's how to
Yeah,
explain. Yeah, but that's actually
yeah,
when the movie feels, I don't want to say authentic or like, but true to what it's trying to do. The
yeah.
first the first act is like you said, like a Goodfellas knockoff. It feels almost silly at times, which I know is not the
Yes.
intent. Like it feels like they're doing these fake weird accents that no one ever quite nailed down. And then like they have these random scenes, like the girl in the wheelchair, like the girl with the amputated legs. What was the
Mhm.
purpose of showing her character? Because they just had that one line where she's egging on the game that she's watching, and one gangster dude's like, "You ain't got no legs, but you got a lot of tongue," and I'm like, "What is happening? What am I watching?"
So I think what should have happened is they should have cut up a lot of that first part of the film and shown it in flashbacks. You know what I'm saying? They could have started at the murder and then go into kind of like the prison, go into like the cart being pushed down and then like the prison thing, and then all of that other stuff could have came as flashbacks. I think that would have brought the film together a little bit better, as opposed to it feeling like two separate fucking things, and there was a huge tonal shift. But that's if it were me, that's how I would have done it. But like, I'm not the
No, no,
director.
you're right. Actually, you know what? You're right. Like it should have opened with the Kevin Bacon murder, and this whole movie. You know what the tone this movie should have done from the beginning instead of this goofy, like weird. I think I think they like romanticized the Italian gangster lifestyle or whatever they were trying to do with the
Hmm.
beginning too much because the tone you strike with a movie like this, with a subject matter like this, is you have to almost do like a Mystic River. Remember the Clint Eastwood, Sean Penn?
Hmm.
Ironically, Kevin Bacon's in that movie too, where like it opens with like the kids, one of them gets like taken away, and we learn that that kid was abused. He's all fucked up. We cut to them adults. The daughter is killed. Inciting incident. Things are not well. It's going to get darker and darker, right?
Yeah.
Like you
Or
open with the
actually,
Kevin Bacon murder, then like say there's a reason why this happened, and then you go to the flashback where you have them interspersed. You know?
you know what I would have done? I would have had I would have actually probably started with the guys in the bar, the two guys in the bar, whatever. So open on that, and
Yeah, the whole
then like
scene.
the guy,
Yeah, the whole
no,
scene.
no, 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 not the whole scene. Walk by and then see him sitting there, and then go and tell the other guy. Then they look at him, and then the flashback begins, and then come back for the murder, and then go
Yeah. I mean, I understand why you would say that, but
because
like
because
for our audience, you need to hook them in immediately. So
Yes,
you want to.
but at the same time, or they can say he's like, you kill that motherfucker, some shit like that. But I think you have to make sure that the audience knows, like, oh, this guy deserves it. This guy deserves everything that's coming his way. You know what I'm saying? But so I think that flashback of going to what actually happened in that prison is just I think it's very important to set up is like, okay, why did they just kill this guy, and why did they kill him in that manner?
Mm.
They made him suffer. And actually, to be totally honest, if that were me, you're like, yeah, they shot his balls off. Got it. I'm here for that. It's just like shot him in the arm, shot him in the legs, yada yada yada. I'd have made him wait. I would have shot him random little places. I would have made him suffer a lot more before I took the head off.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
I think.
considering what this guy was fucking doing, come on now.
Well, yeah, yeah, I understand. I mean, that's what's so conflicting about this movie is like basically, I mean, before they killed Kevin Bacon, the adult John Riley and adult Tommy Marcano, they've both been killing people since they were like 18 years old. They immediately got
Yeah,
out of juvie or whatever and became like hitters for the mob. So
yeah,
it's not like their hands are clean pre Kevin Bacon reunion and killing them, right? And so that's just conflicted because, like, spoiler everybody, they do get off, right? But at the same time, like, they're not good people. Like, they're not. But that's also because we see what caused them to go down the star road. It's like, that's the thing is there are no good guys or no, I don't want to say that because there's clearly bad guys in the story, right?
yeah, yeah,
But when you see, I guess when you see people like John Riley's character and the Tommy Marcano's character, you're supposed to realize that you can't always just say like these guys are just bad, right? Like things happen to them that created these adults that we have to deal with in
yeah,
society, right? And I,
yeah,
I think the movie had a hard time kind of juggling those stories because at the beginning, like like you said, we were talking about like we were seeing these kids kind of going through, different seasons together and dealing with like domestic violence and stuff and then being peeping toms, but then they start working for the mob and making about 25 a week, he said, for a very small amount of time. I'm like, that's really fucking good.
yeah.
And what's this supposed to take place in like the
The
1960s,
60s.
late
Yeah,
60s,
yeah.
you know but
68,
yeah.
1968.
But then when they do that whole hot dog cart thing, you know what I mean, like they ruin the man's business, they ruin his life because it's a murder weapon basically now. I mean, that guy lived that the cart crashed into, but
Yeah,
he ain't doing well. He got hit with a fucking hot dog cart in
it's
1967.
not funny.
I mean,
It's not funny. Stop while
but
you self
like
don't
that's
laugh.
like, dude, that like
That's like
we've
being
seen
hit
those
by a
carts.
fucking like a motorcycle flying down the
Yeah,
stairs. Yeah, that's straight steel. It's just like a guy getting hit by a car.
yeah.
Yeah,
And it's all because those kids didn't want to pay for a hot dog.
yeah,
Talk about a bad decision, man. Well, the worst decision was them taking the cart. It's already one thing to do a snatch and run with like a hot dog, right? Because
yeah,
yeah, that guy's out a few cents and shit. That sucks. But to take his business, like they like, they have like the little monologue, the voiceover about we were stupid, we disregarded him as a human being, we disregarded him as a business owner and what he was trying to do with his life and stuff like that. But but also that's supposed to be a reflection on the community. It's supposed to be an indictment on the community, how they failed these boys, right? Because
well,
Father
I mean,
Bobby
I
can only
think
do so much at the same time.
exactly.
He's a priest.
Well, I think Father Bobby can only do so much, and also it's just like they're put in a space where everything like they can kind of do no wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like this is
yeah.
this is fun. This is whatever. It's like, but it's partly because they weren't necessarily being raised correctly because they were raising themselves running around the fucking streets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but I think the other thing that again, growing up, in a house with kids from all over the, all over New York and things like that during the fucking crack epidemic in New York, it's just like it's something that I learned at a young age. It's just like everybody's like just because a person is like this, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're necessarily a
Mm,
bad person. It's like
yeah.
shit comes, like they're Frankenstein of all of these different events that create them. You know,
Yeah.
so I think that's I think that's a part of the reason why I always identify. Not that I identified with this
Yeah.
film, but you know what I'm saying. Like this movie always stood out to me because I've known people who've been in similar situations like this.
Mm, yeah. I hadn't I guess I never saw this movie like from front to back. I remember like scenes, like you mentioned, like seeing it as a kid. Like I remember seeing scenes from HBO. Like I remember like the Kevin Bacon forcing them to eat off the floor scene.
Yeah,
Bradley Renfro getting fucking jacked up by that big that actor's in a bunch of stuff. The one that fucks him up, like in the
yeah.
during the prison lunch or
Motherfucker looks
whatever.
like Biff.
that motherfucker was wailing on him. I was like, yo, you getting fucked up when you got blood oozing out your mouth and
Yeah.
you still get a hits. It's gonna be a bad day for you. Um, yeah, and then the whole fucking that first night with the guards and like the taunting. Kevin Bacon, man, there's a period where I was like, I mean, he just challenges himself as an actor, I guess. But between this and
Yeah.
The Woodsman, I'm like, man, you need to stay away from them fucking them pedophilia, child trafficking characters and stuff. That's some dark
So
place because that's just a dark place to go as an actor. You know what I mean?
it is. But the one thing's like Kevin Bacon plays a really good fucking villain.
He does.
He
Yeah.
really does. Like he really does. And I think that another reason I like this movie because every movie before this, because this came out in what,
96.
96. Most movies, I remember Kevin Bacon from, that were like, Footloose and like, he's, they weren't this serious. But that when he came out with
Ah,
in this film, when he popped out in this, I was just like, holy shit, Kevin Bacon's fucking scary. And like, yeah, he's
yeah.
done some really dark shit, which also made me appreciate Kevin Bacon as an actor. Like I
Yeah.
think that Kevin
Okay.
Bacon actually makes it in a sense, even though again, terrible. Like the scenes that Kevin Bacon was in, like Kevin Bacon should have
Oh,
gotten nominated.
yeah, don't get it twisted, dude. I think Kevin Bacon is notoriously one of the best actors not ever nominated for Oscar.
Yeah.
I think Kevin Bacon deserves like honorary Oscar at the most. I think
Oh,
he's had so
100%.
many great roles and so many great movies. Yes, he's not the strongest actor ever to do it, but he's mad consistent. Whenever he's in a movie, I'm expecting to be semi decent. I've never seen Kevin Bacon in a complete utter piece of shit. And folks, you can add
Yeah.
me if like maybe I'm forgetting a movie or two. But around this time, to your point about him playing a villain, so I saw this like in '97 ish or something like that. So that means I had already seen The River Wild, and I don't think we ever
Mm,
reviewed that movie for this podcast.
no.
But that movie fucked me up, like because I loved Kevin Bacon from Tremors. He
Mm,
was like a B movie classic hero guy and shit like that. And then in River Wild, dude, he's like a fucking creep. He like is willing to kill this kid, like Joseph Mazzillo from Jurassic Park and shit. Like he is a piece of shit in that movie. And so when I saw this, I was like, oh yeah, he plays a good, like you said, like, he plays a really good villain.
yeah, like well, and that's the thing. It's like I think it's for one really hard for people to play a piece of shit. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? I think that people have a hard time doing it. But when an actor commits to that, like when they
no.
fully like go all the way in, like I think like I'm just like that's what it's supposed to be about. You know what I'm saying? And like anytime he goes, like he's all the way in. It's like so I very much appreciate this movie. Really helped me appreciate Kevin Bacon and like just who he is as an actor and how far he's come.
100%. I will say, the child abuse, the sexual abuse that's suffered from by the main characters and stuff. I'm glad it wasn't overly graphic. There are
Yeah.
some disturbing sounds we hear and disturbing voiceover describing the haunting sounds and images that these young men are taking back with them and the torture they suffered from the various guards, various times and various situations, which is fucking terrible. The first time, that first night though, with the long tracking, the pull back tracking down the
Mhm.
hallway, and like it gets darker and darker. I thought it was a very effective moment.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is, right before that, when the boys are being pushed against the fence, you hear that like, you know, it was like a banjo twing, like dun, 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 and you're just like, oh, some bad shit's about to go down. I just like it was such a manipulative like music cue where you're like, you know what I
It was
mean? Just like, uh oh,
it's almost like the saxophone in Law and Order.
yeah, like oh, no, no, don't, niggas going to jail, and when they in jail, bad
Dun,
things
dun,
gonna
dun, dun,
happen to you.
dun.
Yeah. Oh boy. So yeah, like we were talking about the football game between the guards and the inmates. You know, Michael Sullivan, the Brad Renfro character, is able to convince Black. inmate, Rizzo
A
Robinson.
black inmate Rizzo.
Or black inmate.
Oh, Black Rizzo. The only
I,
Black Rizzo you'll ever hear of.
yeah, that was insane. And then his brother's played by Wendell Pierce, Little Caesar
Mhm.
Robinson. I was like, so were y'all
Dressed like
adopted
in
by
dress
Italians?
dressed like one of the fucking black Israelites standing outside
Yeah,
of the
he
fucking
looked
Penn Station.
crazy, dude. He looked fucking nuts. But yeah, so they convinced this poor black dude to be like, "Hey, man, we're gonna fuck him up because they fucked up our friend Michael because he got a book from his teacher because he actually did the assignment." That was crazy, dude. When Robert De Niro shows up, I did write down my notes because we talked about Kevin Bacon. Bobby De Niro does a good job in this movie. There is
Yeah, he does.
one scene that lingers on his face when, like, when Lorenzo's telling
When
him the
he's telling
abuse.
them about everything that happened.
Okay, I get it. The Jason Patric character, like when he finally, like, tells him and Minnie Driver what happened. That was over a minute, right, on Robert De Niro's face, right?
Yeah.
At least that was insane. That was an insane choice,
It
guys.
was. And it's funny because when I was watching it, I was just like, and he's not doing anything. He's just like,
I thought it was in a loop. I was like, did this freeze? What's no? It's just literally on his face, just like, hmm, hmm.
so
There's
they
a lot.
fucked you, huh? So they fucked you. Huh? Like it was really weird. It was really weird. Like I don't understand why they did it like that, but it was like, yeah, yeah. Oh
Yeah, that was
God.
odd. That was odd. But I did
Like,
say that I wrote down my notes about Bobby De Niro. I was like, he's killing it, especially the monologue with young Lorenzo when he visits
mhm,
him in the prison, and he was like, I've been to a place like this. I've been here.
yeah,
And like I was like, okay. I was like, now we're like you said, like once they get to the prison, now we're really cooking with like some good storytelling, effective
yeah.
filmmaking and stuff like that.
But and that's the thing is like I'm surprised that I don't know why Shakes didn't actually just become a priest by the end of the film.
Yeah, that was the whole thing with the Lorenzo character. There was some weird shit about adult Lorenzo because they were like, he's kind of a reporter, but he never reported throughout the whole movie. Like, we never saw him working besides manipulating situations so they could get their friends
Yeah.
off on this case. You know what I mean? Like, because at the end, like, I think one of my last notes is, what does Lorenzo do professionally? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm working for the paper and I got a promotion. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, sure, Jason
Like
Patrick.
or I think they should have changed the characters, and
Mm,
Brad Pitt's character should have been the one who was like looking at going into the priesthood and everything. And because of everything that happened in the prison, he's not comfortable with people touching him. Because and that's the thing is like they alluded to that
yes. Yep.
with Minnie Driver's
Whenever like
character.
the hugs and whenever like yeah, when people
Yeah,
come in for physical contact and stuff.
yeah, so like he that's why he shied away, but like it would make sense for his character to then go into the priesthood because that's his excuse to stay away from other people. It was like, oh yeah, he went and he moved to England, lived in the countryside as a woodsman, and he never married or anything. I'm just like, or or he could just become a priest because like and it's also like Bobby De Niro's character, like that's the only person, especially a male figure, that was safe. You know what I'm saying? So it would
Yeah,
make sense for him to follow down that road. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
I just thought that made far more sense as opposed to him just hanging out in the woods, making chairs.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of weird stuff that's rushed or like in storytelling or just quick notes that are made. I mean, I feel like the mini driver Carol character, and yes, we did see young Carol around, but at the end they make it seem like Carol was part of the boy crew. I'm like, no, she wasn't because she was. She either would have been in jail with them because of the cart situation, or she would have taught them out of the cart situation because she actually seemed like maybe she had a good head on her shoulders. Um,
Yeah.
that was weird. Also, Minnie Driver is playing a Latina in this movie? Question mark.
Yes, I believe she is.
Carol Martinez. Listen, Minnie Driver looked great. Minnie Driver looked
She
great,
did.
but
She
back
did.
then in the mid '90s, she was for some reason like the biracial girl that could save you if you were a broken
Hmm.
man. But because she was trying to save the
Uh,
whole crew, and I'm not trying to slut shame anybody or anything, or sex shame anybody or anything like that. But she at one point asked, she has shakes. She's like, "How can you never try to give me shakes?" I'm like, I wrote down my notes. I'm like, maybe because you just told him that you hooked up with two of his friends. Like he's not. You're still
True.
hooking up with John. We literally just
Yeah.
said that before he went to jail. You all were still fucking. Like, why would I? And you know these niggas ain't wearing rubbers.
Oh, no, no, no,
There's
no.
nothing
Yeah.
about this city at this time with these characters that they're not all just fucking raw,
This is early
including Father
80s.
Bobby.
Yeah, this is early
Yeah,
80s.
everybody just fucking out here busting nuts. It's crazy.
And then now, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back to the football game. Yeah. So the kids still lose, right? And they still get their ass beat.
No, they won the game.
They did win the game.
Yeah, they
I
won
was
the game.
unclear with that because remember, this is also they got the way they filmed the game is all weird with the shaky cam and like slow mo, and then they have a flashback with Michael convincing Rizzo as a different color tone and shit. And it's also filmed as if it's a Goosebumps meets Buffy episode, and so there's these weird camera angles and Bradley Renfro's faces all the stories like you gotta help me, Rizzo. It's like
Well, I mean,
like there are moments where Barry Levinson, like it's almost like he wants to fuck this up. You know what I mean? He's like, this could be an Oscar contender, but let me have some fun here. Let's shake things up a little bit.
yeah, but you know what? I also look at this as like, hey, it's 1996. You know, like, and mind you, we had great films in 1990 in the 90s.
Yes.
But like sometimes it's just like there were certain things at certain time frames. It's like we were okay with them being a little bit off. Like nobody was like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I wrote down my notes. I mean, obviously the kids were dealing with a lot of like terrible conditions. The rats are crawling around in the ground and stuff. But at one point, Shakes in his I think in his voiceover or says to another character, talking makes living with it harder. And I was like, my therapist would like a word, but also that's a terrible mentality to go about. Just just shoving all of this fucking pain inside you. Like, it's okay. Don't talk about it. It makes it easier. And just like they fought
But
these kids,
again,
dude. Yeah.
you know, this is also 1968.
Yeah, I know, man. I know.
It's
But
1968, and then like you know, the movie culminates in what 1983 or
yeah,
something like
something like that.
that.
Yeah, I hurt my chest
So,
banging on it. I heard my chest banging on it so hard.
hanging on a trash can.
Oh my god. Drumming on was it strumming under a street
On the street
light?
light,
Yeah.
drumming on my banjo. Anyhow,
You sound like Childish Gambino doing a cover of Doug. That's kinda good. I kinda like that. Okay,
um,
Justin, we talked about Kevin Bacon. We talked about Bobby De
yeah.
Niro. Okay, because I know we're coming up on time. We're coming up on a cool hour. Bro, we have to talk about Dustin Hoffman's crazy ass because this nigga is forced to be a lawyer for the mob after being handpicked through this scheme through Brad Pitt's character to do this. He's like, he tells the mobster King Benny or whatever. He's like, I'm alcoholic. Like I'm barely hanging on. And the guy's like, well, you better get sober. You got like an hour to get sober, and if you lose, it's gonna be the dirt nap for you. And then Dustin Hoffman's like, okay. Okay. It's so crazy. He literally has a bullet to his head. Like, I watch this movie so conflicted because I'm like, all right, this is an interesting, like, kind of like legal heist they're trying to pull up. But so many people are being manipulated and could die if this goes sideways. Like, I did appreciate that there's real stakes, but Dustin Hoffman's performance is so cool bananas. Am I wrong? He's crazy, right? The whole thing
Oh
was
no,
insane.
out of fucking control. And like, I'm, you know, what's funny? I forgot that Dustin Hoffman was in this film, and they popped up. And I was like, "Who the fuck is he?" And then I was like, "Oh yeah, he's a lawyer defending the guys, but he's a plant to win the case." It was just like, what?
Like, this movie took a lot of swings, and I kind of appreciate it. The more we talk about it, the more I'm actually like my rating is going up. But there were some insane things. Okay, like so, kind of trying to go back in chronological order. We had the big flashback and stuff. Then they're adults. By the way, Shakes' last night is apparently like the night that like they already lost their innocence, already like had become hardened young men and stuff. But apparently that was
Yeah.
the night where they suffered the worst abuse of the whole thing, and
Yeah.
like it just like scarred them all in various ways,
Yeah.
right? And so they get
Which,
released.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so they
I'm
get
not even
released
gonna. Never mind.
and they're older and they're older. And that's when we get to the Kevin Bacon, the older Bobby, no, the older John and Tommy encounter Kevin Bacon's character at this random bar. He's eating
Yeah.
food and stuff in the back. And I was like, yo, Sean Noakes, played by Kevin Bacon's character, is so arrogant and fucking evil. He sees this man because when John first goes to the bathroom, he like almost is like stopped in his tracks when he recognizes Kevin Bacon. And then Kevin
Yeah.
Bacon's like, "Can I help you, Chief?" I'm like, dude, given everything you've done, and you know you're a fucking the worst piece of scum shit to ever set foot on this earth. If a guy is staring at you the way that this man is staring at you, you don't think that's gonna be some chickens coming home to roost? Like
Mhm.
that didn't cross his mind because he's still there.
Yeah.
Like that he like John goes back to the bar, talks to Tommy, they look over, watch Kevin Bacon for a little bit, then decide, okay, we're gonna kill him, go to the corner, load their guns, and then confront him. So Kevin Bacon
Yeah.
had at least maybe 5 minutes if he realized, oh man, that might be one of those little niggas I fucked up. Like to get out of Dodge. That's
Yeah.
how
I mean,
arrogant
but
that piece of shit was. You know what I mean? Which is what
yeah,
makes
I
him a
mean,
great villain.
never thinks that this is gonna come back on him. He's like, ah,
That's
fuck it.
insane. How would yeah, it's crazy because it's not like Kevin Bacon doesn't have a distinctive voice, like bass. You know what I mean? You're gonna
Yeah.
remember. I mean, no matter what, you're gonna remember the face of your abuser, of the person that
Yeah.
caused you all this, mental and physical anguish. You know,
Yeah. I mean, but again, that's why he's so good in this film.
yeah.
It's
Also,
just
shout
like
out to, Ida Totoro, Janice from The Sopranos, who was randomly in the restaurant during that
yeah, yeah,
scene.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Testifies against
yeah.
them. But then Dustin Hoffman's like, did you have a drink at the bar? Yes, wine. Yes, wine. Okay, okay. What about before that? Uh-huh. You had another wine? Okay. And do you think you were fucked up? Maybe? Okay, goodbye.
Like, wait, did you eat something? It's like I think I had a salad for lunch. It's
You
just like
think?
so you had six drinks on a salad. Like he got her though. That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's good lawyering.
Yeah, that was wild. Okay. All right. Because we're getting through this. We gotta go back to the Bobby De Niro, the long shot in his face when Jason Patric tells him and Minnie Driver everything, which that scene also was insane because Minnie Driver's character was clearly trying to fuck. And after that monologue or the muffled monologue of Jason Patric, her character's just like despondent, like, oh my God. And she's also a
It's
social
just
worker.
like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, she's
Never
like,
mind.
oh, no wonder Johnny fucks me so hard. Um, then she, but then Bobby De Niro, right? This is after he's told him everything, and then he's like, and so I tell you all this, Father, because Michael and I have a plan, and we need you to say that you were with Johnny and Tommy on the night of the murder. And then Bobby De Niro, another long shot on his face. Mhm. So you say you want me to lie? And it's like, nigga, it took you 45 seconds to come to that conclusion. Yes. Yes. That
Yeah,
got you to lie.
yeah.
That was insane.
So
That
you
was
want
insane.
me to put my hand on the Bible, swear before Christ, and lie? Yes, nigga. Shut the fuck up and lie.
I just wrote down a bunch of random notes. I wrote down, is Jason Patrick's character a fixer now? Does he have a day job? What is he doing? Because it just seemed like all day, all he was doing was just manipulating things for this case.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you doing? I wrote down Dustin Hoffman's insane. I was like, why have you never asked me out, Shakes? That's what Minnie Driver asked him. Oh, I wrote this down as a scene that happens in a lot of movies, Justin. And I want your thoughts on this. In
Go
this
ahead.
movie, Brad Pitt's character meets up with Jason Patric's, and he has a armful of files on the. Like, he's
Uh,
like, this is the files of the abuse that never was actually reported and like prosecuted. Blah blah blah. It's raining outside. Like it's not even just raining. It's pouring cats and dogs.
Mhm.
This is not no, this is even 1996. That's when this movie came out. This is like 1980, right? 1981. There are no extra copies of these documents that Brad Pitt's just running around with that are paper documents in a rainstorm. And he's just like, have at it, buddy. Look through all of it. Oh, rain, don't worry about that. Like, why do they do these in these movies? You're going to damage the only evidence you have.
I mean, yes.
A drop of water, one of those fat butt raindrops, and it's over, baby.
The fat butt raindrops? Is that what you were trying to say?
What are they called? Fat drops?
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Fat butt raindrops. Yeah, those BBL raindrops that come out of there. What the fuck are you saying, Brandon?
BBL rainy. Okay. I don't know. This movie just got, and then, so the second, I think what we're both saying is the second act is really strong of this movie.
Yes.
Which is very rare for most movies. The second act usually is where things lull. The second act for this movie, actually things pick up. We started getting an idea of like this legal heist that Michael's going to try to pull off and stuff like that. And it kind of sounded like he became a lawyer just to do this thing that he did. So that's why he's very much like at the end, he's like, yeah, I'm going to quit.
I'm
like,
done.
I'm going to resign.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
Like,
well, also because I think also because this was kind of like a layup case. This would have been a layup case for him. And like him losing this, you know, they would lose confidence in them anyhow as a DA.
Yeah.
You know, but like, yeah, he was just like, nah, I'm gonna get my boys off, and then I'm getting up out of here. It's just like, because as long as I can, because he's been compiling this information because he was following. You know, one guy was a youth minister, other dude was he was a dirty cop, and so he just had information on everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, and the last guy, the one that killed Rizzo, or as you call him, Black Rizzo. He worked for the government
or something like that.
He worked for the mayor or something like that. And then
Wendell Pierce killed his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's wild that the one that like testified as a character witness for Kevin Bacon, which is crazy. If the only character witness you can get for the victim is a nigga who like through Dustin Hoffman's crazy ass cross-examinations, like, and at this school, at this facility, did you see abuse towards boys? Yes. And did you observe the abuse? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And did you partake in the abuse? Oh, you did. Oh, with the victim. Oh, okay. So y'all were just fucking boys. Am I right? Okay. The fence rests, Your Honor. I was just like, and then Brad Pitt's just like, whoa. And I'm like, if I were,
it's like that was way too easy. That was way too easy.
That was the only character witness the prosecution offered. Be like, hey man, like, because at the beginning he's like, you know, he was a good guy, right? He's like, oh, he was the best. He was a great friend, good old dude, good old Sean Noakes. Cross-examination. You and Sean were fucking boys, weren't you? Oh Lord.
Yes, we were fucking boys. Oh Lord, this is so bad. You got me. You got me. How do you talk me out of this information?
And then the judge tell that guy, he was like, sir, I probably wouldn't leave the state or something like that. He like implies something like that, right?
No,
like, don't go too far.
I wouldn't go too far from home. We're gonna be coming to see you soon.
yeah, that was wild. That guy's like, oh, well, I can't go home now. And he was a social worker. Get the fuck out of here. That's crazy.
No, he's a youth minister.
Oh, I mean, I guess that's a similar work, right?
He does like Sunday school and yada yada yada. It's like, yeah, trash. But yeah,
Father Bobby testifies that they were at the Knicks game, but then like they can't prove that they bought a ticket. Like, well, they can't prove that they were actually stubs there, but he had the ticket stubs. He's like, this is why I always bring my ticket stubs. I was like, totally Barry Levinson. You're all over the place right now, dude. What is this? But I feel like in the movie theater, some people might be like, oh shit. Oh, they did it.
Like they thought of everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Count of Monte Cristo made a call back. Oh, see, that's screenwriting, baby. The Count of Monte Cristo, nigga. there is I've never met two people that have read the Count of Monte Cristo, let alone two hoodlums from this fucking neighborhood who then are like both like, oh man, remember the Count of Monte Cristo when they said this thing and they did that?
I read it every Friday. I read every
When he
Friday.
said that, I was like, you lost me. I was like, this I know some movies, some fantastical shit. You lost me. Bullshit. I was
I
like, if
love
they
that
were
book. Read every Friday.
yeah, that was insane. Also, why is Brad Pitt always eating? At the end of this movie, he's eating something.
Well, they all
Is
went
that
out
like
to dinner.
whatever, man? Oh, that was insane. When they're all like at dinner and like reminiscing, like, oh, remember when we were kids before we went to jail?
Because before we start getting fucked.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
like,
all right.
and then the voiceover's like, that was the last time we all spent time together. After that, John and Tommy both died before they were 30. Like you said, Michael Sullivan went to go live in a fucking bum cabin. I never married, but I'm okay. And then Carol, yeah, she's still looking good out on these streets. She's a social worker. She got a son named John Thomas Michael Martinez and nicknamed some shakes because she fucked all of us. All right. Goodbye, audience. It's insane, dude. It's insane. We all know Mike Sullivan also probably unlived himself because before he leaves, before he leaves Shakes, he's like, I'm weary, Shakes. Like that nigga's going to this movie is insane. It has so many strong moments, but then it does some shit where you're like, Barry, we couldn't have rethought this. We couldn't have restructured this. Like, come on, dog.
But again, I think that it would have been a much stronger movie if they kind of
goodbye audience.
If they did it my way. If they did it my way, if they switched things to order and did some flashbacks, I think but that's a good editor. A good editor would have known it's just like, hey, this is kind of a better way to cut this thing.
Yeah. To my point earlier, though, about the guard that's brought in as the character witness for Kevin Bacon's character, I did write down my notes. This would be a wild character witness to blow up in your face. A Brad Pitt Jay Lee didn't plan for that. That would have been such a crazy moment in court. Be like,
he'd been just like, whoa. Well, it seems I got the wrong character witness.
Oh my god. Justin, did we have any letterbox reviews for this movie?
Yes, we do, sir. All right. So up first, we have Allie. Allie writes, PILF, priest I'd like to fuck. 4 stars. Okay. All right. Young Bobby De Niro. She wants to fuck him in the club.
All right.
All right. Then we have Nick. All this because of a hot dog. Yeah. 2.5 stars.
That's what I was saying.
Mm-hmm. All right. Zoe writes, stand by me, but make it 100% sadder and more tragic. 5 stars. Yeah.
Yeah. Darkness.
Matthew writes, or Matt Hugh came for Robert De Niro as hot priest, left with the trauma. I've known this was a hard watch. 3.5 stars.
Oh, okay.
And last but not least, we have Florio. None of them were sleeping.
Jesus.
4 stars.
That's fucking dark. That's really dark. All
Oh,
right.
boy.
Well, all right. Well, we there we go. Justin, break down our rating system, baby.
Stop calling me baby. Guys, you know how we do this. We rate movies, bags of popcorn, small, medium, large, and the XL for the exceptional. If a film doesn't deserve any hot, buttery, delicious popcorn, we throw it into the stale popcorn pile. We pile piles and piles of stale popcorn on top of it. So, Brandon, we sat down and watched the 1996 film Sleepers. What say you, son?
You know what? This is initially borderline between a small and a medium, maybe a medium. I'm actually giving it a large, even though it trips over itself. It has a hard, rough start because if you don't know what's about to happen in this movie, after minute 35, things are gonna get real dark real quick for you. If you haven't already seen the hints before that of the unhinged Lorenzo's father stuff. But yeah, large. Like some of the performances don't work, but some are entertaining or like so jaw dropping that you're like Dustin Hoffman's portrayal. I was like, my mouth was agape the whole time. Anytime he was on screen and the way he played that character. By the way, we don't know what happened to him. He still might have been killed. It's insane. Like the
He's a
circumstances he
loose
was brought
end.
in. Yeah, if I had known that I was brought in that case for that reason and Michael Sullivan just took roll the dice of my life, I would be like, fuck you, Michael. Every time I see him, I'll say, it's on sight, nigga. I'm gonna kill you. That's why you have to go live in a cabin. But yeah, that's my rating. Large. What's your rating, Justin?
And the word was a gape, a gap.
You know I don't know how to say words.
I'm sorry. I was gonna let it go, but I just couldn't help myself. Yeah. So,
You know, I reminded somebody about when it was the word was dysentery, and I called it dysentery. I still remember
oh
you
god,
lost your shit.
yeah, I
Like
did.
this.
I did. This, oh, this century. Oh god.
They got dysentery. All right. All right, Justin, what's your
Uh,
wait, you said large, right?
oh yeah, I'm gonna give this a large, man. Like, yeah, there were some things that I would have definitely changed with the film, but I think that second act of this film is so strong that like it actually makes it's one of the few films that actually makes up for the slow start with
Mm,
such a strong second half and just close of the film.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna give it a large, and the only thing I would say about this, what's the rewatchability of this film?
Oh, no,
Because
this isn't a rewatchable at all.
it's a hard film to watch.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a bad film to watch, but it's a hard because it's so heavy and
And it's kinda
you
haunting
just
too.
like
Even that last shot with
yeah.
Carol and her son, when the little nigga looked like Pennywise, until you realize that's the same actor that played young John Riley. You're like, this movie was weird. And then it just fades to black. You go to credits, you're like, all right,
Yeah.
sure. Lluvia, our producer's asking, is a Requiem for a Dream kind of horror watch? Rewatch. No, it's not that intense. Requiem for a Dream is really hard to rewatch. And that's
Yeah,
one of
yeah,
like
yeah.
the best
Yeah.
movies I've ever seen. Whereas this one's just kind of like it's so inconsistent and weird that I would probably now that I've seen it again and like recently, I would probably go to specific scenes, if anything, and just
Mhm.
watch like Dustin Hoffman in the court scene or something like that. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to rewatch this from start to finish.
Honestly, Brandon, a part of me wants to. A part of me feels like I would like to get this movie and download it, and then cut it the way that I would want to cut. That I feel like it should be cut, and re-edit the film. Just to
Yeah,
be
but
like, it's gonna be such. It's a much
that's
better
still not gonna
film
save
now.
you from some of the weird performances that almost derail the movie. That's
Yeah,
like because Jason Patric is so fucking weird and odd in this. I don't know. It's almost like he's in a different movie sometimes. But
yeah.
uh,
Oh, he almost
yeah.
has like he almost has vampire vibes at at
Well, he
times.
was doing Lost Boys. That like smoldering, like kind of like I'm so neutral and removed, but like that was what makes it cool and mysterious. It's like it
Mm,
just doesn't work. And like I think that's like what he tried to do most of his career. And like, yeah, it got old real fast. But before
yeah.
we give our plugs, Justin, we did get one Patriot thought on Sleepers. And folks, remember you sign up at
Oh
Patreon at
baby.
patreon.com/media popcorn. You get to get your thoughts and reviews right on that episode. So Justin Rich wrote, underrated movie, plenty of trauma. Don't drop the soap around guards. Rizzo got done real dirty. Love to come up into Kevin Bacon's character. Large popcorn.
Mm,
There you
yeah.
go, folks. That's our review on Sleepers. As always, you can follow us at Medium P Podcast on all social media platforms, youtube.com/medium popcorn podcast. Press that subscribe button so you get alerted about all future reviews and celebrity interviews we have on the channel. And personally, you can follow me at Frodo_Blackens on Instagram and threads, FrodoBlackens.com for show dates, including Drunk Black History and just doing stand up around the city again, stuff like that. So, yeah, hit this up. Again, FrodoBlackens.com. And just how can people follow you, as well as reminding the people how they can support us financially if they choose to do so.
Well, guys, you can follow me at J Brown Did on all the social media platforms, but you can also support this show. Show us some love on Patreon, patreon.com/medium popcorn. We have $2, $5, $10, and $15 packages. So if you love this show, you want more of this show, and you want to give a little something, Patreon is where you do it. Patreon.com. I'm sorry, /medium popcorn. I don't know what the hell I was just what happened.
You all right there, killer?
No, I
All
am
right.
not.
I mean, yeah, we just celebrated your birthday with sleepers.
Yep.
My lord. Well,
Yep.
happy birthday, Justin. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you. I mean, you turn me from a skeptic to a fan, ish.
See, there you go.
I mean, I will say that.
I'm just glad you said that you didn't say that you turned me on. I was just like, what? That's not what this movie was supposed to do. I I wasn't sure what you ran.
All right. Well, with that said, folks, we love you, we hold you, and we let you know. It's gonna be all right. Just stay away from Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
All right.
Sadistic son of a bitch.
Bye.
Medium popcorn. We are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me. And Justin Brown for your movie needs. Medium popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault.